We are going to talk about the NAR lawsuit first, because as we do a lot of VA here, predominantly VA with purchase loans and cash out refinances and the VA IRRRL, we have to talk about this first and foremost.
Yeah.
This article is coming in from HOUSINGWIRE, and the title is VA should expedite regulatory changes for agent commissions. And this is coming from the CHLA, the Community Home Lenders of America. Okay, so really quick,
I think it should state more. VAs are getting screwed.
New title:
VA
borrowers getting hosed.
Yeah, like
again.
Like here they are, you know what I mean? This is just crazy, guys. I continue NAR, so it stands for National Association of Realtors. It's like they just gave in. Let me just go with whatever has to happen.
Yeah, they caved.
You know, they just caved instead of fighting for us, right? And instead of fighting for veterans, first-time home buyers, minority communities, they're all going to be affected by this. And
100%.
This is just crazy. I get all excited because again, we mainly work with veterans and active servicemen and women. And so something like this is just not going to allow them to really achieve that dream of home ownership if they have to come with additional funds, which is awesome. And I know this is kind of saying like, hey, we're going to try to figure out a solution for them to finance. But here we go, right?
Yeah, so just to bring a little bit of context to what William said, under the current system, the buyer's agent commission is basically baked into the price. So, some way or another they are paying it, but now they're switching it so that it needs to be discussed up front.
Yeah.
So, no more, hey, I could go see houses and, we'll figure it down the line, see what the seller's paying. Now it's like, yo, what do you bring to the table besides your down payment, closing costs? VA doesn't have down payment, closing costs. What else are you bringing to the table so that I could show you houses? And now it needs to be discussed.
Yeah, this is just crazy.
But here's the problem with this. Well, okay, so first of all, let's set the stage. So Brian and I talked about this on last week's show. We're talking about the agent commission thing. So everyone who's watching this week's show, here's the deal. The VA handbook prohibits the veteran buyer or the buyer using their VA loan from paying their broker commission for the buy side of the deal, which means that in any traditional real estate transaction where the seller is paying both the listing agent's commission and the buyer's agent commission, the VA buyer can get their offer in and accepted. Okay, now the rule says that you have to now pay your buyer's agent if you are a buyer. But the VA handbook says you're prohibited from doing that. So there's this gridlock situation. That's the stage right now. Here's something I thought about since last week that I wanted to bring up with you guys right now. And the article referenced this, and it doesn't really make sense to me. But, okay, buyers may have to pay upfront fat fees to agent, right? Okay, so even if you pay a fee upfront, the purchase price won't go down by that same percentage, will it?
No.
So, okay, so instead of $1 million house, so last week I used the example of $1 million house.
Okay.
So let's say the home is listed for $1 million and you go, oh, I'm going to pay my agent up front. Does that mean if it was going to be a 3% commission, which would net $970, am I going to now just offer $970 and get my offer accepted? The answer is no.
Yeah.
And so there's another part of this that's going to be a really big problem, which is sellers are going to be denied taking the highest and best offer too, because people are going to start gamesmanshiping this and go, oh, well, then if I'm going to take the haircut up front or pay it myself, then I'm going to offer less. Well, then your offer's not going to get accepted. There's a big ass problem here.
No, it makes it even worse because now, when they're saying before they were colluding, now I feel it's going to happen even more. Like what agents have the houses that are actually paying,
Even worse.
Yeah, it's like, yo, now you just made it even worse where now it's going to be even more like, hey, who has the good houses that I could show, who's actually paying and who isn't. And that just, at the end of the day, it screws over again the consumer, the seller, the buyer. And instead of making it easier, it's like they made it a lot harder, but showed that it's easier.
Yeah.
So here we are. So here we are in the first week of April. Okay, it says the settlement, the NAR settlement, could go into effect as early as July. That only leaves us the months of April, May, and June, basically 3 months from now, in order to get anything done. But I don't know. First of all, if that happens, that's going to be like monumental because when is the last time anything got done in 3 months when it comes to a regulatory agency, the government, and real estate?
If they do, oh my God, then we've been freaking lied to the whole time.
For me, I just like the part that they're just trying to go and figure out, well, can we add, the buyer's commission into the loan?
Well, technically, it already
but that's what it is already.
But can we say that it is?
No, it's already that way. It's already that way.
I get
when
it.
The purchase price is $1 million and it's paying both buy side and seller side.
That's correct.
Then it's already in the loan.
But here, what it's actually saying is like, well, if they buy it for $1 million, now they got to come with that 3%, whatever the buyer's agent. Now it's going to be $1 million plus whatever that may be, right? Like we're going to finance like. you know, like how it is kind of
like
with,
101, the LTV is going to now be over 100%.
That's correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's correct.
Right.
So now
Right away.
now we're asking them, not only are you tacking on the VA funding fee when you're active, right? If you're
buyer's
using it
fee
for the
as
first
well.
time, it's 2.15%. In addition to that, whatever the buyer's agent, if they're doing 2%, well,
Add another 2%.
that's what
to
this
that.
is saying here.
Basically,
Like they're trying to figure that out here. Because that's the problem is we already know most of our active servicemen, veterans,
that's what I was gonna say.
you know, they get this loan with no money down.
Yeah, it's 100%
So
financing loan.
how are we helping them?
Well,
And then
there's-
guys, not only that, like I get all excited because when we're putting offers in for our VA, what's the misconception?
Oh, they're harder to close. They take longer. The appraisal's more scrutiny. Like all that garbage.
Yeah, you know, like it's just unfair practice is how I feel.
Yeah.
And here's the NAR just gives in. Here's our government that is allowing all this to even happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, okay. So if there's
Crazy.
anything promising in this, it's that numerous agencies are notified, and I'll say have been put on notice. Number one, and that they're working with the Department of Justice. So I will make sure. So for everyone who's watching this part, we are already kind of in the know. Let me share with you a couple things. So back in December, the CHLA sent a letter to regulators and administrators at the Federal Housing Finance Agency, which we call FHFA. They also sent letters to Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and the Department of Agriculture, which is USDA, and the VA, and the Veterans Administration. And they're currently working with the Department of Justice to determine any potential implications for veteran borrowers and is committed to ensuring that veterans are neither disadvantaged in the home buying process nor overcharged. So this is going to be an exception. And Brian and I talked about this. It's going to ultimately probably end up being that, where there's going to be an exception to the rule congruent to or pursuant to the new NAR settlement of 2024, starting effective July 1st, 2024 is going to be this whole thing. And I think it's going to be the exception where VA buyers will be able to have their agent paid through escrow because it is going to be a lot quicker to just make an exception than to change the entire rule in the handbook.
Yeah.
It'll have like a little asterisk.
So this reminds me kind of like on the loan side when buyers can't, on the VA side, the buyer can't pay for an origination fee discount points above 1%.
Correct.
So now I feel that they're going to either cap how much they're able to tack onto their loan, which again, in a way puts the buyer at a disadvantage because now if they're only able to tack in 1.5%, the buyer's going to be like, yo, I don't know if this is even worth it for me still, and maybe not want to work with them, or in a way just kind of
No, well, I mean, I can understand there might be some attitude, but again, this
not
is
directly but indirectly.
Yeah, but remember this in the VA non-allowables conversation of the things that the veteran borrower is not allowed to pay for. There's a limit for that too.
Yeah.
There's a limit for closing costs and credits. Of
course.
So then if that gets lumped in there too, they're going to also have to change that rule.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
allow for there to be more credit
I highly
allowed.
doubt that they're going to.
This is just like kind of like you know what this reminds me right now when you're saying all that? It's like when you're making a cake, right? And you put a little too much flour.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so now you have to dilute it with something else, right? You either put it with milk, whatever, and then it's like, oh man, now I put a little too much milk.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna need a little more sugar because it's not even tasting that good. What else do I add it
And
to?
then
Just
you
and it just keep adding. Like this is what it feels like. We just keep layering in. When are we gonna get it
Layering.
right, guys?
Yeah.
When is our government gonna step in and really get it right with this?
Well, look,
to
they have-
really
they-
help
100%.
our veterans
They have to do it right now.
achieve the dream of home ownership for the land they protect. Like
They're going to have to do it right now.
you see what I'm saying? Like this is. Like you just said, we got May, April, May. Yeah, go May.
Let's start with the month we're in, April. So April.
April.
Too excited. I get it.
May, June. Like we got 3 months to change all this around. This is crazy.
That's only a quarter. Like that's a quarter of time, right? It's a quarter of the year, and they're on the clock. I mean, let's be honest. Politicians, if they're not on the clock already, they're going to be on the clock too, because there are also politicians who are veterans.
Yeah.
And they're going to have something to say about this because we already have an affordability issue. We already have
Big
an
time.
inventory issue.
Big time.
We already have the Fed and rates, number one. We have house prices continuing to go up, and they did not collapse like everyone was anticipating and predicting. You got the Fed who's going to be, let's say, reducing rates later this year. May or may not help our situation.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen as we get to the summer and we turn the corner into the fall with election season? There's going to be politicians on this. If this is not solved before July 1st, this is going to be a hot topic. I guarantee it.
And then here comes a tax relief credit too, right? That's gonna supposedly inspire and encourage buyers to come on.
But again, that's a back
Right
end.
before
That's a back
election
end
time.
deal.
How
You
convenient.
You still have to show up with all the ability to become approved,
Yeah.
and then get your offer accepted and all that before
Yeah.
you can even have the reward of the tax credit.
And that's what we were talking about last podcast, where if this doesn't get solved, it's going to be the one thing that actually unifies everybody, because everybody sees housing expensive like the same. Nobody, there's no like, hey, everybody knows that shit's expensive right now.
Yeah,
and
everything's
everybody
expensive.
wants relief some way or some other. So if this isn't solved, that's going to be a huge graph.
No,
for anybody
absolutely.
that brings that
Everything
up.
has to do with inflation. You go to TGI Fridays, that hamburger that's there. Do you
Hell no.
think that TGI Fridays, when inflation starts going down, do you think they're going to change their dollar menu and re-laminate their menu, right?
oh, no, on the contrary.
Wait,
They're
hold
going
on,
to be like, bro, this is the new norm, right? Everything's just going to be expensive. It's going to be the way it is. This is
it.
the new norm. Adjust.
Make more
And that's how
money.
I feel like all of this is like, this is going to be the new norm. Let's just adjust to this now.
I want to make sure I understand that on the show right now, we are pivoting from using the dollar menu as a metaphor, and we're going to TGI Fridays
No more of that.
burger meals.
Exactly.
Finally, it doesn't exist. Might as well just go to.
Because I went the other day, to Jack in the Box, see if I can get a $1 taco
so
anymore.
dumb,
They're
dude.
so gone now.
They're $2.99 now.
Yeah.
Hey, this fool's not a Jack in the Box, you guys. We're having Tortas around the corner.
Yeah.
Hey, so here's the other
the
thing.
good ones too.
Here's the other thing. Another point of pressure I think is going to come from this is, what is USA and Navy Fed going to have to say about this? I mean, I know they're completely two different entities. USA is mostly known for insurance, but there is financing, and then you have Navy Fed, which has financing and is a bank. So what are they going to say about this? Because they serve the majority. It is for veterans and active duty military.
Yeah.
There's going to be that thumb on the scale too when it comes to, hey, y'all better fix this because it's their people as well, and not just that they need to have some sort of special attention or treatment, but it is the majority of what what they do is active duty and
But
veterans.
here's the thing, Andy. I would love to understand, okay, yeah, they're going to make something of it. But I think a lot of them, they're adjust a little bit. And if it's not going the way they think it's going, well, you know what? I'll stick to just lending on car loans, credit cards.
Wait. So you're
and figure
saying
a different way.
Wait. Are you
Kinda
saying
like
it may
Wells
not be
Fargo
worth
just
fighting
completely
for?
stopped doing.
No, I'm not saying that it's not worth. What I'm saying is a lot
not
of
you.
times.
Are you saying that they might feel that it's not worth fighting for?
I feel like sometimes you feel defeated. You saw Wells Fargo last year saying that we're no longer going to even perform mortgages.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Because the
that's fair.
CFPB always continues to come over here and then just sue him for any odd reason.
Well, hold on.
When,
though.
who
Wells
implements?
Fargo, not any odd reason. Wells Fargo did some shady crap. That's not entirely.
I get it, but everybody becomes like the guinea pig, right? Who
Well, they give
who
the
can I go and is
example.
just going to release me some money right away? If we need some funding right now, who do we go after?
Well, I mean,
Well-
that makes sense. Like the NAR, they just said, "Oh shoot, we are doing crappy shit. Settle," so they don't keep digging and find more. Because, but what happens is now that they took one out, there's more, and they're slowly by slowly they're gonna keep rolling out because now you caved in. So they're like, they did do something wrong. Get more people to sue.
That's correct,
Yeah.
and that's exactly
Well,
what it
yeah,
is.
it does
They
crack that
gave
door.
in.
Thank you.
When they should have kept fighting it, right? And they believe in what they were doing because you know what? Not every realtor is like that.
No.
This has been existing for many, many years. Where
Decades.
the seller is going to pay for somebody to bring them the best offer. Right? With the best terms and conditions. And then they have, like right now, they have 510 to select from. I'm an excellent VA buyer, has excellent credit scores, has enough money to pay their closing costs. And we were competing with 8 other offers. Guess whose offer is not being looked at?
VA.
Yeah, the VA offer, and we talked about that last week. We talked about number one, the sellers are going to be denied
Not cool.
maybe the potential offer, but then also the other like force factor is that people are going to get creative and do stuff like outside. They
Yeah.
should not be doing things outside escrow, but
That would
there's
be
people that are
colluding
going to
now, right?
probably start doing that. And yes, when you make an example of somebody, it opens the door for other things
Yeah.
and other methods for suing, countersuing, delaying, changing things.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be an equal playing ground for everybody. It will not.
It's
This is
not.
going to favor people that have money, and it's going to inextricably hurt people that are, let us say, middle or poor.
Also,
Middle class or poor.
Andy, how good is it going to be when I really know the realtor and I'm just calling them, hey, Brian, I see you have this listing there. What are you offering as far as your commission?
Right.
Shit, I barely make
You're
anything.
doing 2.5%. Okay, cool. You know what? Would you go with my offer if I do it for 2%?
Yeah, but here's the thing.
That's more colluding right there.
That
you
is.
know?
That's what I'm
That
saying.
is.
That now everybody's
It's
gonna be
crazy.
that they're gonna be having that conversation. outside of the office,
It's
they're
nuts.
gonna be. It's gonna be like, yo, are you bringing something to the table? If not, don't even fuck with me.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing:
Yeah.
is in the
Excuse my
end,
language.
the buyer still has to make the offer, and this is what we're talking about. Is like the whole argument about this NAR lawsuit is that agents are steering buyers to places that have higher price points, not higher commissions. So they misstated in the article. Oh, they pay a higher commission. It's 3% over here. It's 2.5% over here. So here's my argument to that: I take you to the house that's got a 3% commission, and then I take you to the house at 2.5% commission. You hate the dog that's at the 3% commission. You're like, oh, that house is a dog. I don't want it. And you love the one at 2.5, and you're willing to like sell an arm and a limb and a leg in order to buy the one at 2.5. Guess what? As a buyer's agent, I'm going with whatever one's going to close. So the idea that, oh, I'm just going to always take the person to the most expensive or the one's paying the most commission, and that's the one you're going to love. That's not congruent either. People are going to buy what they want to buy. The commission is going to be the commission based on what the listing agent and the seller agreed it should be.
Yeah. Very interesting, guys.
Pay to play.
Very interesting.
Obviously,
Again,
not
I
too
get
heated.
it.
Not too heated about it. Is there
Again,
steam
I
coming off
get
my head?
excited because I'm so passionate about our veterans, and then, this is just. But here we go.
So here we are. No solution.
right.
Definitely a problem. And at least
Yes.
it sounds like they're making some effort. But look, they're on the clock, guys. The clock is
that.
ticking, and we're gonna have to see what
They're
happens.
they're saying help, but it's not help.
Yeah, I like that.
we'll see.
It sounds like they're getting us some
Sounds
help.
that
It
they're
sounds
like, quick, put something together.
And I don't know. And look, I
silly.
could be wrong, but I will say this on the show.
I think you're
Watch,
right.
they're gonna they're gonna announce a solution at the 11th hour and be like, oh, we just by the skin of our teeth, we saved the
Yeah.
day.
Just like
You know,
every single
watch.
time when the budget gets done right at 12.
Yeah,
right at
11
oh my God, we figured it
11:59.
out, guys.
Yeah, and
11:59 the night before.
we're not the ones that invent these rules, right? These rules are given to us by the governing laws that we have in place. Just like homeowners insurance right now. Bro, they're the ones that are telling us to insure, otherwise we don't have a loan, right?
Right.
But yet we have to have it, and we have companies that don't want to insure us.
Correct.
I know it's another topic, but
No.
it's very similar in the sense that, we just keep getting sidetracked
But
with these things.
to your point, they said I'd rather stop doing loan policies in California.
Right.
I'd rather lose my most profitable state, not anymore. But
Well, not anymore.
yeah,
That's
not
part
anymore.
of the problem.
Exactly.
The
Because-
most expensive was the most profitable, but now it doesn't even make sense.
No,
Yeah.
but you have to maintain solvency. That was the other issue. It's like
Yeah.
if you cannot, or you project that you cannot maintain solvency, then you're not going to be allowed to conduct business in the state anyways.
Right.
So you're already steering down the problem of maybe not even be able to operate. So they're just pulling the plug early.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy.
I know it's an oversimplification, but
No, and it really is. But we can't close a loan without that.
no,
No.
you have to have insurance.
I just had to search like 3 different carriers to be able to close.
Hey, only 3?
Only 3?
Bravo! Because I'm seeing more like 5. On average, you got to go with 5, 6.
Oh man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Different topic.